The following is a presentation of the Bello Sports Media Network.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball Show right here on the Belly Up Sports Network. We have finally reached it. It is the week of opening day, and it's as long as you count opening day as when everyone's opening day. I hate the Tokyo thing. We'll get to that later. Anyways, I'm Vince Stover. I'm joined as I am every week by the senior writer at bellyupsports.com, focusing heavily on fantasy sports, Kevin Wilson. Hey, Kev, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Vince. As you said, it's a great time. And, we had some baseball, and we can debate whether that was opening day. And in fact, Ryan and I did get into that debate on his show the other night. And it was the first time I had ever had breakfast and watched a live baseball game. So I had that. And we have the traditional opening days coming up. And so this is an exciting time, and I am ready to go.
Yeah, listen, I don't hate that we had baseball that counted for something. You can't call it. It's like the opening games in the March Madness. It's not truly the tournament till you get to Thursday. Those games played on Tuesday, they count. They're important. It's not March Madness. Now, baseball, same thing. Tokyo, fun games. Need to see real baseball being played. All that's great. It's going on the fantasy teams, all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, opening day is this week. I'm ecstatic. I've been watching the Brewers mess with their roster today, making some drops and sending guys down. And third base was a big question mark, and it seems like we have some answers now. So that kind of stuff has been fun. Ultimately, though, I'm looking forward to turning on. I like to listen to games. So turning it on the MLB app and listening to the Brewers game this week, it's just going to feel so sweet to have it home. And a quick shout out, by the way, to Elijah Underhill, who is a pitcher / center fielder for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. Today he was playing outfield and game-winning home run in the 10th inning to give EKU the win today. And Elijah is a great kid and special talent. Excited to see where he goes long term, but wanted to give him a quick shout out as well. Well, Kevin, we got a lot to discuss in this show. Let's go ahead and get this segment number one. We call it the Fantasy Burner. Our Fantasy Burner segment is presented by BellyUpSports.com. Get over to the website. Check it out. There's articles right now going on about everything. The NFL draft, I've dropped a few articles there. Major League Baseball, of course, lots of stuff going on there. Basketball, hockey, it's all there. And it's all on BellyUpSports.com. All under one roof these days. And if you want to check it out, you can. And every week after this program, we actually put out an article about the episode. As well. So if you miss anything, you can go back and check that out as well. For the Fantasy Burner segment today, we're looking at diamonds in the rough, maybe some late round grabs that we think could have full season relevance. Guys that we think, they are drafted really late. One guy even was undrafted, maybe two of these guys in one of our leagues. But that we think, long term, I think this person's going to stick around with some fantasy relevance. So, Kevin, we haven't talked. I've got three guys. How many guys do you have?
I didn't, as you mentioned, we didn't talk. So I've got a full page here. So I'm ready to go as long as you are ready to go.
Okay.
And so we'll just see where we get.
All right. Well, why don't you kick us off with the first one? Who do you like?
Okay. So the player I'm going to start off with is the one that looks like he's going to be the starting second baseman for the Houston Astros. And that player is Mauricio Dubon.
Okay.
And it looks like Houston is serious about putting Jose Altuve out in the left field, which I'm really still trying to understand why they're doing that, but they are going to do it. So that to me helps his long-term at least this year, it helps his value because he'll add on outfield with that. But anyways, we're talking about Mauricio Dubon, and he already has outfield, first and second base qualified. He's at 4.1% rostered at the moment. Last year he hit 269, and 269 in today's baseball world might as well be 310. So year before that he hit 260. He's played in the last 2 years 132 and 137 games, and so as a late round pickup, I think this guy has some value. And in our draft that we did, I mentioned that at the end I didn't have a lot of I'd like to have some of the players that have play different positions. I do not have as much as that this year. So this is a guy I think that you can look to. He's going to be a starter, so he's got relevance.
I want to come back to the Altuve topic in our next segment.
Okay.
I think it's stupid, but we'll come back to
it. Okay.
Dubon's a great pickup. I mean, he is a guy who's been a utility guy there in Houston. He was actually, if I remember correctly, he was in Milwaukee. Then he went to San Francisco in a trade for, now I can't remember who, and then ultimately to Houston, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on this, but I'm thinking that's what it was. He's been a utility guy. He's played a lot of baseball. He's a good ball player. I mean, he's definitely earned his keep there in Houston. To be the starting second baseman and generally speaking, an everyday player now in Houston is a big deal for Dubon. And I think fantasy relevance wise, I with having that eligibility in 3 spots and being an everyday player, he's definitely needs to be on a roster. And I think good things are coming for him. The only issue you're going to have is if Altuve can't cover the outfield and they have to put him back at second base. And then does Dubon get everyday play in the outfield? Probably not. He'll still play. He'll be out there, but it'll be more on Altuve than it will be on Dubon as far as how much playing time he gets. So I like that one, Kevin. I think that's a good pick. I'm going to go with a guy who a couple of days ago looked like he was going to be picking up a second position eligibility as well. Now it's less likely, but I still like him. And it's the Oakland/Sacramento/Las Vegas Athletics first baseman, Tyler Soderstrom. Tyler, it looked like he had a chance to win the backup catcher job as well. He'd be the everyday first baseman and then spill the catcher occasionally and get catcher eligibility, which, Kevin, we agree. If you got to get eligible at catcher but doesn't play catcher, that's usually a good thing. Salvador Perez is that. Back when MJ Melendez was fantasy relevant, he was that, those kinds of things. So I really like what the younger A's are doing. I think Soderstrom is still going to be a decent fantasy player as a secondary first baseman or a corner infielder, whatever it may be. But if he can somehow get catcher eligibility this season, that boosts his value drastically. And I like him. I've picked him up in most of the leagues I'm in because of that possibility of catcher eligibility, and he's the everyday first baseman. So I know he's going to be on the field. I know he's going to be hitting, and he's going to be hitting in a minor league park, even though the dimensions I get. But, I like the opportunity that Tyler Soderstrom has this year.
Okay. So if he does add that, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, who else you got, Kev?
All right, so I'm going to move over to the Seattle Mariners, and we all know that the Mariners need every bat they can possibly get in their lineup. And it looks like they're trying to get a way to get Donovan Solano's bat into their lineup any way that they can. And he's already qualified at first and third and DH. And so he's at 0.6% rostered. And last year at San Diego, he hit 286. So he can hit the ball. And he's played as many as 134 games. So if he, in fact, and year before that, he hit 282. So he can put the bat on the ball. And his OPS has been 110 and 112, so he's got value. And as a guy that's you can pick him up the last pick of your draft and have a player that can play all over the first base, infield. He's got value, and if he actually does hit the baseball, like I said, the Mariners need anyone that can hit the baseball. So I like him as a late round guy, and if it doesn't work out, you can cast him aside. But I like what he can bring, and like I said, the Mariners need everybody. So I want to see him in that lineup. If he is, then go ahead and get him on your team.
I like it. Let me go to another team, kind of like the A's, not known for a lot of winning currently, Washington Nationals.
Okay.
And outfielder Jacob Young. And Young, he's only rostered in 3% of leagues right now, ESPN leagues. And last year he had 33 stolen bases. His defense is so good, they're not going to take him out. Like he's young, so he's only going to get better at the same time. So what I like about Jacob Young is last year he had, I think, 212 fantasy points, something like that. That's not great, of course. But you give him another year in the lineup every day, he's going to get you stolen bases. If you're in a cat league, there you go. And I think that whole team is better. They built it this year. It's a better core group of guys. And I think Jacob Young's a guy that by the end of the year, he's not going to be the top outfielder or anything like that. But he's a guy that's going to get you some points consistently. He does have some strikeout issues, but name me a player who doesn't. You're gonna, he doesn't strike out as much as Schwarber. He also doesn't hit home runs as much as Schwarber. But that being said, I like Jacob Young a lot. I think this is a big year for him. I think you could see him take a step forward and really put himself into a spot where he is a consistently late round draft pick that you can have and get some good value out of.
I like that. Anybody that can present you with some stolen bases that late in the draft has value. So I like that a lot.
All right. Who else you got?
Okay, so I'm going to go to a team as well that's not been known for their winning ways, and that's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
Nice.
A guy that's been around for a while, and he's going to be their starting shortstop. Okay, because they moved O'Neill Cruz to the outfield.
Yep.
And already he has second base, third base, as well as shortstop. He's at 1.8% rostered and hit 269, 8 homers, 43 RBIs with 11 stolen bases. And he played in 133 games. He has he has 2 seasons of 20 or more stolen bases. So if he plays every day, he can give you some speed. He'll give you some versatility. And I think that the Pittsburgh batting order is going to be a little bit better this year. I'm thinking of big things out of O'Neill Cruz, and they got Brian Reynolds over there. So he's going to have some opportunities to generate some stats and be in the lineup, and you can move him around all over the place. So if you're looking, versatility is the byword of the guys I'm going with today. And so he's got it. And he's going to be a starter. Doesn't matter if you've got versatility if you're not in the lineup, but he's going to be there. So I like him coming into the season a lot.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, let me give you a guy that last year hit 20 home runs on a team that was 4th place in their division. Okay. This year, he's in a loaded lineup that is the favorite to win the World Series. And he's only owned in 9% of leagues right now, rostered in 9.1% of leagues. It's the Los Angeles Dodger outfielder DH Michael Conforto. Now, there will be some playing time issues with Conforto, although he did end up playing in both of the games in Tokyo. But there will be issues. He'll be sitting some games, and he'll probably be more of a matchup situation to some degree. But a guy that you can get undrafted or late in the draft that's going to give you 20 dingers in San Francisco, and his RBIs were only 66 last year. If he hits 20 dingers in Los Angeles, his RBIs will be 75, maybe even 80, because there'll be people on the bases. So I look at this and go, Conforto, I am surprised with how low Michael Conforto has been, because I sit here and go, wait, this is a guy who's done it before. This is not, last year wasn't the first year. He's done it before. He's a good ball player. He's on a stacked lineup, and he can do it. He's proven he can do it. Now he's in the best situation of his life. So I expect Michael Conforto last year, 200, and I forget what it was now. I don't have it in front of me. 230 something points last season, fantasy points. And so this year I expect that to bolster for sure up to maybe 280, somewhere in that range. So again, not top tier by any stretch of the imagination, but this should be his best fantasy year in quite some time.
It should be, he's going to be in that Dodger lineup, and anybody that's in the Dodger lineup, you want access to if you can get it. So
right.
I really like that pickup a lot. He's a guy I've been watching, pretty much since we began our view of fantasy baseball. So I like that a lot.
All right, give me one more guy, Kevin.
One more guy. So I'm going to switch over to the mound, and this is a guy that we have discussed before. And we were like, well, I don't know about him because he's got age and he's got an injury history and everything else. And I'm talking about Justin Verlander.
Okay.
And during the draft, you wanted me to say something good about the Giants. Well, here it is right here. Even though he's Justin Verlander, he's at 14.6% roster. So you can wait your draft and still pick up a guy, and he's healthy. And we know spring training doesn't mean a lot, but he's 2-0 with a 1.89 ERA and 19 strikeouts and 19 innings. So he's dealing, and everything looks good. He's there. He's mentoring these young pitchers that the Giants have, so they're going to have him around. And he says he's healthy. The Giants say he's healthy. He's going to be in their starting rotation. So I like him. And I would have thought he'd have a little bit higher roster percentage than 14%, but that's what it is currently, at least in ESPN leagues. So if you have a chance, you're looking for a pitcher late and he's sitting there, I would certainly take a chance on Justin Verlander just based off of what he's done and give him a shot. And if it doesn't work out, it's all good.
Yeah.
And so he's a guy that I've really come around on, because I remember when we talked about guys that we didn't believe in, he was one of mine. But I think he's got a great situation right now.
I agree. I think that, especially with the injuries that have happened, you got some pitchers that are starting on the IL, so some younger or less experienced guys getting opportunities. I know I like to take a swing on some of those too, but yeah, Verlander's kind of grown on me here over the last week or two.
He has. He really has.
I'm with you on that. I think that's good. They've had some injuries too, or not necessarily injuries, I guess, but they sent one of their young guys down to the minors to start the year down there that I thought was a little surprising, but he had a really bad spring, so want to give him some more time to work up. So yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. I like that one for sure. All right, that is our Fantasy Burner presented by BellyUpSports.com. Check it out for all the sports opinion and news you can handle. Let's go to segment number 2. We call it the Hot Corner. Hot Corner is presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution, righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code BELLYUP. You're going to get 15% off your purchase. All right, Kevin, let's start with the Altuve thing, because it hasn't really looked good.
No, it hasn't. And I was really surprised when this came up. I thought, okay, so they're just going to put him out there, maybe, save some wear and tear on the body. I'm not sure. But everything that I've read says that they're going to put him out in the outfield.
Yeah.
And so, well, good luck with that. And in one of my leagues, I needed a second baseman, so I went ahead and got Jose Altuve. So if he adds the outfield, if he plays enough games to add that, then he's got some fantasy more relevance than he would have had anyway. But So we'll see how this works out, but I am not sold on him being an outfielder. It's not like he's been in the big leagues for 2-3 years now. He's set in his ways, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the benefit.
I don't either.
I feel like there's more injury issues in the outfield than there is at second base. I don't think that that's smart. You're talking about his arm. That's going to be an issue over time. He is older. He is small. Maybe that's it. He doesn't have the reach at second base they want anymore. I don't know. He's been a superstar there at second base. So to move him to left field is weird to me. Like I said, it really hasn't looked that great. I seems like maybe they're trying to be too smart in this situation. They're trying to outthink everybody and be this, I don't know. It's a weird situation. They have said, yeah, he's going to play most of his games there at left field. And I don't know, man. I don't like it. I mean, as a Brewers fan, I've heard him say now for 2 years, Sal Frelick was going to move from right field to third base. Never happened. They played him a couple games last spring there, and that was it. And he might be slightly taller than Jose Altuve, but he's a small build also. And his outfield range is great. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't like it. I don't think it makes sense. I don't know why. I understand why you move a Hall of Fame catcher to first base. I don't understand why you move a Hall of Fame second baseman to the outfield. I mean, look at the Dodgers and what they're doing with Mookie. It's the exact opposite. They're moving them into the infield. Like, you got them back into the infield. Like, it's a weird thing that just doesn't seem to be the right move. I need to reach out to Parker Ainsworth, our buddy over there in Houston, and get his thoughts on that. It's a strange move. I will say this: their City Connect uniforms look amazing. So there you go. You've got the Space City. Have you seen the one this year that they've come out with? New ones. Sharp, man. Sharp stuff down there.
Well, a lot of these teams needed to come out with some City Connect uniforms because almost universally they were all awful. All of them. With the exception of this one right here, which I really, really, really liked.
Yeah.
And Colorado's. And aside from that,
a bunch of them look the same. Detroit, Seattle, Minnesota, like they all kind of look the same, which was weird to me. San Diego, I wasn't a fan of that.
Oh my goodness, that was absolute. And the Rangers right up the road.
Yeah.
I failed to understand what that was supposed to connect to anything, and so I think they needed to open a hole in the earth and just take all those uniforms and bury them as far and as deep as they could. And so I saw the Washington City Connect uniforms. They look good. And because I wasn't sold, I know it's Cherry Blossomville out there and everything else, but I wasn't on board with the uniforms they had for them last year. But so anything they can do to improve the City Connect, please do so.
All right. We have had some moves this week. Rockies trade Nolan Jones to the Guardians. I thought that was an intriguing trade, actually, for both teams. Freeman is what they got back in that one. So Tyler Freeman goes to the Rockies. Outfielder Nolan Jones to Cleveland in return. Colorado had an injury on the infield. Thairo Estrada came over from San Francisco. So Freeman's young, and it'll be. I don't know that it affects Colorado a whole lot at this point, but I think it affects Nolan Jones, and that's fantasy-wise, especially if he's going to get every day or close to every day play in Cleveland. I'm a little bit more intrigued from Nolan Jones.
I am as well, even though you'd like to see a player still hit in Colorado. Yeah. But then you've got the awful splits that those players do have. And so he'll be in a much better hitting lineup than he was in Denver. And so he's going to have a lot of chances. Nolan Jones was a player I was not sold on a year ago, and I had no interest in this year going into the draft. But if he's going to be – he is. There's no ifs. He's going to play in Cleveland. So there's some intrigue there to me.
Let's see here. Braves trade Ian Anderson to the Angels. That's a pretty good get for the Angels, I think. I mean, again, he's not an ace or anything like that, but the things the Angels have been doing this season, I just look at it and go, I think they're good moves.
I was kind of like Ian Anderson. I don't know, but you'd like to see a pitcher pitch for Atlanta, I think, more than you'd like him to see pitch for the Angels, just because it's a better organization, it's a better team. But maybe if he moves up in their rotation a little bit, that remains to be seen. So I'm still not falling over myself about Ian Anderson, but he could have some value.
Yeah, it says he hasn't pitched since 2022 in the majors. He had Tommy John early in 23, and Atlanta's rotation was pretty full. So they moved on from him.
Right.
I think it's a good get for LA of Anaheim Angels. Let's see here. Lots of injury stuff. We knew or expected Gunnar Henderson was going to start on the IL. Sounds like he won't be out very long. Missed the opening series, maybe the first week.
Yeah, that's a decision you're going to have to make if you have not had your draft yet.
Yeah.
Of whether you're going to take him. I don't think that would scare me off a whole lot. But are you going to take him in the first round? Maybe, maybe not.
Okay. Let's see here. Mariners cut Haniger. That was I mean, again, you don't go, oh my goodness.
You're cut by the Mariners and you're a hitter, you're done.
There's problems.
Yeah.
Shane McClanahan. It sounds like they got good news on Shane McClanahan.
Yeah, it's much better news than it first looked like.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to drop him. I got him in a couple leagues because he was a great value this year. I got him late. But he's going to start on the IL. They're hoping that it doesn't look like it's horrible, just some nerve irritation, they're saying. So, Ryan Pepio, opening day starter for Tampa. Congratulations.
Oh, no.
Ryan Pepio. And,
yeah, we've discussed him.
Whoever Tampa's playing on opening day.
I could have that information if we really need it. Let's see here.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're a fantasy baseball player, and you've got hitters that are playing for why can't I find it? Do they not play on Thursday? They don't. They open up against the Rockies. So if you just by chance have a Rockies player on your fantasy team, line them up for Friday, send them out there.
Especially because they're at home in that small ballpark, which is the reason why we raise the alarm about him specifically.
Yep.
Because he's a fly ball pitcher.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same short right field. It's as Yankee Stadium. They constructed it that way. And I think Ryan Pepio is going to get blasted to the outer regions of the atmosphere pitching in that ballpark. I would want nothing, whatever, even if he's the opening day starter. No, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I watched him in person last year.
I remember.
It was an entertaining game. We got to see a lot of home runs.
And that was in Tampa, which is not known for being a homer dome.
Right.
Okay. Right. And but that just goes just like I'm saying. He is we talked about that. He's a fly ball pitcher. He gets I think it was 40% of his outs were fly balls, and that ballpark is going to be it's going to be awful for him.
Opening day is Thursday. Brewers, I'm excited. They're at 2:00. They're on ESPN Plus, so I'll get to watch them. I will turn on the game
in New York
against the Yankees at the Yankees. Should be a fun game. And Thursday's my day off, so I'll actually be home to watch it too. I won't be at the office, so that'll be fun. I'm just excited, man. I'm excited for the sounds, the sights, and everything that comes with baseball season being here. It's a good week. It's a good week to be a fantasy baseball or real baseball.
And it's a great week because the Dodgers start play against the Detroit Tigers. And the opening day matchup is Blake Snell versus Tarek Skubal.
There you go.
That's the top opening day matchup in all of baseball. So You don't have to be a Dodger fan. Maybe if you're a Dodger hater, even I don't know. But that is a matchup that you're going to want to see if at all possible. 'Cause they're two Cy Young Award winners going head to head. So, gotta like that.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Anything else before we switch
Well,
topics?
I know that this is going to be a shocker. I know this. Okay, that Royce Lewis. Okay, Minnesota. He's going to open on the IL. Okay, I almost said DL. That's 4 years ago now. And so with the left hamstring strain, there's no timetable for his return at the moment. So if you thought that if you drafted him, you knew eyes open the whole way, and it's not getting off to a great start with him already. So that's I know was a shocker to everyone that he's having injury problems. And so you mentioned the Angels earlier, and I don't know if you saw this that the Angels have banned cell phones in their clubhouse.
Yeah,
So that's going to be interesting to see.
in the locker, at the locker when they're sitting at their lockers, they're not allowed to be on their phones. Then that promotes talking to your teammate. Novel idea, and so far, seems like it's going well.
Okay, so that was an interesting. I saw the other one was the Paul Skeens, rookie, last year, awesome pitcher, everything else. His rookie card sold for $1.1 million.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Yeah.
And let's see. And there was this news that Rafael Devers, despite all the squawking that went on earlier on in the season, is going to be the DH for Boston. Okay. So Bregman is in fact going to play third base. So I don't know how they restricted his food intake or how they convinced Devers to actually go to the DH. That's going to work out well for everybody involved there. Except a lot of people drafted Bregman thinking he was going to get second base eligibility.
Yeah.
That's not going to occur now. So
well,
be aware of that. It might change, but as of now, it is not the plan.
Yeah, it could still happen. There's I would assume there will be games where Devers will play third, Bregman will slide to second, or something like that.
Well, it depends on Christian Campbell.
Yeah.
Who I picked up in our league. And so he's a guy that I think that we could have talked about him opening. But if he plays well at second, which he has not had a great spring.
Yeah.
Either offensively or defensively. But if he's in and he plays well, they are not going to switch Bregman off of third base.
How would you like to be a Boston Red Sox second baseman? They go out and trade for Vaughn Grissom, can't win the job. They got this young guy, Christian Campbell. He gets the job, but is he going to be able to hold it? Those kind. It seems like second base has been a tricky spot for the.
Yeah, you might want to check and see if it's radioactive over there, or or what the deal is on that.
Yeah, I did. I drafted Bregman thinking he was going to be a second baseman.
I would have done the same
in one of my leagues. I can still use him at third. It's but I already had a third baseman. But I was like, well, I'll get him here. That'll get my second baseman. I can wait a week and he'll be eligible. Well, that backfired. I got Colt Keith in that league holding down second base for me, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, that's intriguing. That's intriguing for sure. All righty.
We haven't mentioned the biggest story of all, though, and that's the opening series in Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did you like it?
I like I said, I liked it because I was eating breakfast, watching baseball. And I know it's just 2 games, but there are a couple of conclusions I think we can draw.
Okay.
And first of all, that the Dodgers' depth is real.
Sure.
Okay, because they won both of those games and didn't get a single at bat out of Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Okay, so
like
their depth
you're going where I think you're going
is a real situation. So that's going to play well for them. And the bullpen, where they made all of those late season moves that had everybody's hair on fire, worked.
Yeah.
Beyond imagination.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're in a league like ours that's got saves and holds and you haven't had your draft yet, draft any and all Dodger relief pitcher, because there's going to be holds aplenty coming down this year. And not just Tanner Scott, not just Kirby Yates, but Blake Trinian is an all. Anybody that pitches in relief for the Dodgers is going to get holds up the wazoo. So
if you want, here's fantasy advice for you. If you've already drafted and you drafted one of the big wigs at closer, that's not Clase, pretty much anybody else. Maybe Devin Williams, but for sure Clase, keep him if you got him. Otherwise, if you have holds in your league, trade your top closers for talent, whether it's starting pitcher or someone on the offensive side. Get you a starter in those areas, and then go pick up a waiver wire hold guy, because they're all over the place, and you don't need saves if you're getting holds. It's the same value.
It's the same in our league, at least. It's 5 points for either or.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
well, and I'm in a league on Fantrax that is you get it's a categories league, but the category is saves / holds. So it's the same. It all counts the same. And there's no reason to spend big on saves when you can get holds for free.
That's right.
My philosophy is trade the saves for home runs, stolen bases, walks, strikeouts on the pitcher side, and get yourself some holds, guys. Because I mean, they're free. No one wants them. No one's thinking about them.
No one wants them. No one.
Yeah.
So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. It's awesome. Awesome.
And so on the other side of that, the Cubs have issues.
Yeah. Oh, you're being too nice.
Okay. I didn't, I don't want to, soil all over them, but there are issues. We talked about Shaw. Okay. He made some big errors out there. So, and he's got some work he needs to do. The whole offense has some work to do, because in that first game, they had a hit in the third inning and nothing after that. Not a walk, not a hit, not a hit by pitch, not. So they've got some issues. Their pitchers are walking way too many hitters. And so there are some issues that the Cubs need to get straightened out, because people are still talking about them being the team to win in the NL Central.
Yeah.
Which I'm not ready to climb on board that just yet. Okay. But they've got issues they need to get straight, and we'll see if they can do it.
Kyle Tucker, 2 for 8.
Yeah.
1 RBI, 2 total bases, 1 walk, 125 in the first 2 games. Huge pickup for Chicago. Congratulations for ruining another man's career. John Birdie, third baseman. Listen, the dude, he's the best player on the team, and that's sad in so many ways. I'd be a little facetious with that. Matt Shaw, 2 of 9, 4 strikeouts. Saya Suzuki, 2 of 8, 4 strikeouts. Ian Happ, 3 strikeouts. Pete Crow Armstrong, 3 strikeouts.
Here you go. This is the one I want to get into right here.
Yeah.
Because I got him on my team. Okay. Specifically because he was going to play in that series. And I thought, okay, I'll get him into my lineup and maybe get a few steps ahead.
Yeah.
But all he did was strike out.
Yeah.
So he's a player that I'm going to be watching. And if that does not improve in a hurry, he's going to hit the waiver wire. I guarantee you that.
I thought the Council curse had been lifted. I am obviously wrong. So we'll keep an eye on the Council curse throughout this year too. And Kyle Tucker, to your mom, your dad, your family, to you, I'm sorry, man. You didn't know it was coming. It's not your fault. It's Craig Council's fault. He angered the baseball gods. It's just the way it works. So I'm sorry, but you made the choice to a degree. I mean, I know you were traded, but let's face it, you made the choice. And you know what? It's just going to be a long season for Kyle Tucker and the rest of the Chicago baseball Cubs. All right, let's move on.
I'm all in for that.
All right, that's the Hot Corner presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Check them out, righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code BELLYUP to get 15% off your purchase. You won't regret it. Great jerky, great stuff.
It's awesome.
Check it out. All right, segment number 3 is the Fantasy Focus. All right, the Fantasy Focus presented by SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code BellyUpSports to get $20 off your tickets. You're headed to a baseball game here in the near future. You got to check it out, SeatGeek.com. I looked them up for NCAA March Madness tickets, and I still couldn't afford them, so I didn't go. But Kentucky was playing here in Milwaukee. I thought, hey, I'll swing over there and see Kentucky. Did not work. I tried to get free tickets. Tried to get in with the chaplain. Didn't work. But Kentucky won both games. I didn't get to see any of them in person, but that's okay. But SeatGeek, they can get your seats there. You can see what's available and get your discounts there.
That's right. As I've used it, it does work.
Yeah.
Just don't use them to go see Peter Gabriel. Okay.
Well, I would watch them to see Ryan Pepio. So
okay. So that's all I'll say about that.
All right, Fantasy Focus. We're talking about guys that are on the injured list that we say, hey, make sure if you're on ESPN, you can click on the flag there and you can keep an eye on them, be able to put them on a watch list and say, okay, know when they're coming back, and maybe be prepared to add these guys to your roster as they get closer to return because we think they have some fantasy value. Kevin, I'll let you start off here. Who do you have?
Okay, so I'm going to start off with one of your guys.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and that's Tobias Myers.
Oh, yeah, that is one of my guys.
Okay, so he's at 3.5% rostered. He has the left oblique strain. He's going to be out till the end of April. But this is a pitcher last year that had an ERA of 3.00 and a whip of 1.17. Okay. So he's a guy that, Milwaukee, I still think Milwaukee is going to have a solid team this year. So if you have an open spot, which you should, seeing how the season hasn't even begun yet, you should have spots on your IL that you can place the guy. So if there's somebody that I'm willing to drop, which, me, I'm willing to drop. So
yeah,
he is a guy that I would put on my IL is going to be pitching for a quality baseball team by May. So I really like him as a guy that I could wait around on and see how, it works out for him.
25 starts. He was 9-6.
That's right.
138 innings pitched, 127 strikeouts, 3.00 ERA, only 36 walks last season as a young rookie. So Tobias Myers is a guy, I've got him in most of the leagues I'm in. I've got him moved down to the IL and stashing him there. This kid, honestly, could be better than Freddie Peralta this year, not just long term. And I try to like Freddie as best as I can as a Brewers fan. I like him as my number 3. I don't like him as my number 1. Tobias Myers, on the other hand, this kid I like, and I think he's the potential ace for this team. So, and they've got another kid coming up in the minors later in the season that has that potential too. But Tobias Myers, yeah, he'll be back. Health-wise, not bad. They got good news on him. He's been looking solid. He'll be back into April, definitely by May. And he should be real solid. He's on my list too, Kevin. I love it. I love Tobias Myers. And he's, like I said, I'm in gracious. I think I'm in 7 leagues this year. That's ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. That's way more than I am. But
yeah, I'm in 1, 2 with you, 3, 4, 5, and I'm in 5 leagues, 5 fantasy baseball leagues. I've never been in that many fantasy baseball leagues at one time. It's a lot of work.
Fantasy football leagues, yeah.
But that being said, I got Tobias Myers in most of those leagues, and I'm happy with it. The only league I don't have him in is I just don't need pitchers. I got him. I don't need them. So anyways, I like that one, Kevin. I like that one a lot. Let me go to a guy. Well, since we both have him, go ahead. Well, who else you got?
Okay, so another pitcher that I have pitches for Miami, and I know you don't want to get too excited about any Miami Marlins, but Ryan Weathers, pitcher for them, 3.6% rostered, out to 4 to 6 weeks. He had a 3.63 ERA a year ago, 1.18 whip, okay? And in the spring, he's given up 1 run, 11 strikeouts, and 11 1/3 innings pitched. Okay, so everything looks good there. So Miami is a place that's a great pitcher's ballpark. and you're not going to. He only had 5 wins, but he pitches for Miami. So, but you should be able to get your other counting stats for him. And so, once again, if we got some open IL spots, he's the player that I would look at that you can get 4 weeks into the season, and Miami's got to have players. So he's going to be up at the top of the rotation. So he's a guy that I like.
I like it. Let me go with another young pitcher. This guy's from Boston, Brian Bello. Last year started 30 games.
Go ahead. He's my guy too.
Okay, he started 30 games, 14-8, 4.49 ERA, which again is great. 162.1 innings pitched, 153 strikeouts, 64 walks. He's on the injury list to start the season. It looks like he won't be on it super long. He'll have to ramp back up a little bit down there, but they're saying maybe even by April 4th, he'll be back in the rotation. So he's gone undrafted by a lot of people or drafted late by some, but he's available in some leagues. And Brian Bello's a guy, I think, potentially the top 3 pitcher in Boston. He's got to get some things right. He's got to improve on some areas, but he's young. He's going to do that. And so I love Brian Bello. I think you get him as a steal. Go ahead and add him to your roster now. Throw him on the IL. Give him a start or 2, and then activate him if you can. And I think that's where you want to be with Brian Bello.
And he's a guy that you and I have both talked about, during this, fantasy baseball buildup.
Yeah.
And he's a player that a lot of people have forgotten because I'm looking at this and he's at 9% rostered in ESPN leagues.
Yeah.
9, and that's all.
Yeah.
And this is the guy, as you mentioned, won 14 games a year ago. His ERA is a little antsy, but he pitches in Boston, so you got to adjust that a little bit. And so I like this guy. I like him a lot, same as you do. So if you have
everybody's like Garrett Crochet's there. Yes, he is. Good for him. Walker Buehler gets signed. So those are the guys that took all the spotlight this year in Boston. And Brian Bello being injured definitely helped with this. But you're telling me Richard Fitz and Quinn Preister are the guys that you're going to go to battle with in Boston?
No. Yeah, you might as well get your helmets on and strap them on real tight if that's what your plan is. So
So Brian Bello, Lucas Giolito is the other guy.
No, leave him out the pasture. Okay, don't do that to yourself.
So, but I love Brian Bello. I think that there's so much potential there. I like him. I like him in that spot. All right, Kev, who else you got?
Okay, so the last guy that I have is the player that I admittedly have not been high on, but he plays for the New York Mets. Okay, and they're going to have a great offense, and I'm talking about Jeff McNeil.
Oh my!
Over there. Okay, starting second baseman for them. Once he gets off the IL, hit 12 homers, 44 RBIs, has an oblique issue. And so second base is a position that doesn't have a lot of depth in it this year. So if you have an open spot, if you do not, I wouldn't fall over myself to get Jeff McNeil. But if you do have it and you're like most people and you're like, well, second base is looking a little questionable.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pick him up. Like, what's not to like about being in that lineup? So get him, put him on your IL, and like with most of these guys, if it doesn't work, you can cast him adrift, and it's no pain, no gain. So he's a guy that's because of this position that I think that you can put on your IL, and you can get some value out of later.
Man, the only Met I'm stashing is Francisco Alvarez, and I've stashed him in most leagues because he's going to be out for a while still. But I'm struggling at catcher in some leagues, so I went out and snagged him and put him. I'm out on McNeil. I will say I'm fully out on McNeil, but hey, man, to each his own, right? I could be wrong.
Like I said, I'm not jumping and doing the dance because of Jeff McNeil, but but like I said, at second base, he might be a worthy pickup because of the position he plays.
All right, let me give you two more real quick.
Okay.
Shortstop, Tampa Bay Rays, Hassan Kim comes over from San Diego this year, starting the season on the IL. Last year, played only 121 games, 11 home runs, 22 stolen bases. The previous year, 152 games, 17 home runs, and 38 stolen bases. That's where I want to see him at. His production from back in 23, and in 22, similar production as well. So, listen, he's in Tampa. It's not great. He's last year had a down year for sure, but I like the potential. Again, this is the guy that I'm put on the watch list. And when he comes back, I want to see when he goes back what Tampa Bay looks like before he comes back, and then give him the option of, let's give him a couple of games, and maybe he's a guy, if I'm in trouble at shortstop, that I can pick up later on here in the year, right? And then I've got another shortstop from Los Angeles, and that's the Angels, Los Angeles. Zach Neto had the shoulder injury. He's going to start the season on the IL as well. And this kid, he's young, full of potential, 23 home runs, 30 stolen bases last year at shortstop. Listen, he 249, not too bad. He did get caught stealing 10 times. But he's super young, and I think he's 26 if I remember right. And he's a guy that I really like, and I like the Angels. We've talked about that already. I think the Angels have improved. I think that there's more there than you realize if you haven't been paying attention to what the Angels have done this offseason. And when he comes back healthy, he's going to be, if he's available, and he is available in several leagues, he's a guy I'd go ahead and grab now and stash if you have a thin shortstop situation for sure. Or if you've got a guy at shortstop that's injured or oft injured, Zach Neto's a guy that you're not going to go wrong with when he comes back. So to me, he's probably the main guys of the guys I've talked about. Well, Tobias Myers is, but Zach Neto comes right behind him as a big ad, or at least a watch list guy as the season goes on.
Well, I'm with you on that. I think he's going to be a great player, but I couldn't see that he'd be on out there floating around a lot of people's waiver because of the season he had a year ago. And so if you went ahead and picked him up, you'd stash him on your IL, and you're going to have a great player that's going to come back. And if you're in a league where he's available still, then you might want to let me know where that league is, because I'll come and join it. Okay, but
it's your league, Kevin.
Really,
he's available in your league. 20.7% rostered in our Belly Up league. He is
okay. There's a move coming if you don't beat me to it. So
no, I'll let you have it.
Okay.
I've already got my championship team built.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that. Your son was talking a lot of smack for you.
So he said,
I was in the room. Okay.
It's a fun story, folks. Let me tell you the story. We had a draft the other night. It was not our Belly Up draft. It was an auction draft. A lot of fun.
It was.
A lot of fun. And I had 4 active players from the league were in my living room. We were drafting in the same room, and one of them made some big time mistakes, lost all his money very early on. He was trying to run up money on Chris Sale, ended up getting Chris Sale. Tried to run up money on Bailey Ober, got Bailey Ober. So anyways, it was fun. My son, he spent all his money on Shohei Ohtani, and so he was basically to the point where he could only get $1 players. And he put someone up and was hoping to get him. Kevin drafted him. And then I think maybe even my other son, or maybe it was the other guy that was with us, put up a guy that Kevin took. And so he was just getting mad at Kevin. They know Kevin. They've never met Kevin. But they know Kevin from the
That's
show.
where wasn't that where Kevin Dye came in?
That was the other guy that was in the room with us. Yes.
Okay, that's where that. Yeah, I figured that's where that. Kevin Dye and all.
My wife actually was the one. Camden, my son, wanted his pick. Kevin took the guy. And my wife
I had $2. I think that's what happened. I had $2. I voted $2 on the guy and got him. crush some hearts out there. So,
And this will tell you how just cutthroat my family is. My wife told my son, who's 13, my wife's not 13, but my son's 13.
that's good
My wife
news.
told my son, she said, you should say something about your dad's going to beat him again if he doesn't be nice to you. And so he put some comment about, you're going to keep losing to my dad or something like that.
Yeah, enjoy second place again. That was
Yeah. So
I was like,
originally
wow, this
actually
is
came
the
from my
height
wife.
of
I was
smack
just telling
talk
you.
coming in right here. So
Yeah.
and I just said simply challenge accepted.
There you go. That's right. That's right. So that was a lot of fun. We've been through, me and Kevin have done 2 drafts together this season, our Belly Up League and this auction draft league. And got into another dynasty league this year on Fantrax, which I have to say, I like ESPN and how it runs things, but Fantrax is impressive. I've been really impressed with them so far. I hate Yahoo with a passionate hate. Who plays Yahoo Fantasy Baseball is Craig Counsell. But the end of the day is
so I'm with
impressed
you on the
with
hate parade with that one then.
Yeah. So, but hey, we're here. We're going to have real baseball this week. We had some this past week, but we're going to get a lot of it this week. And fantasy baseball is in full swing. So next week we start our weekly waiver wire advice. Segment 3, this segment that we're in right now will always be our waiver wire advice. We'll give you ads for the week, subtractions for the week as well. Our first segment of every show will be fantasy related. And then that middle segment will be just Major League Baseball news, maybe some guests here and there as well. And then we got some belly up guys that would be good to have on. But since they refuse to play fantasy baseball with us, we spit in their general direction. But we'll see if we get some of those guys on. This week, I don't know when it's coming out. I know we're recording it, I think, Tuesday night. But me and Kevin will both be a part of the Belly Up Sports Baseball Super Show, kind of previewing the season. Our friend Brent Radlinsky is hosting that from the 1420 Sports Podcast on the Belly Up Sports Network. So we'll be on that this week. I said, I know we're recording Tuesday. I'm not sure that it's going to show up Tuesday. It might show up Wednesday on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. I'll be looking for that this week. A lot of baseball talk coming this week. I know Ryan McCarthy did some baseball stuff this week on the Belly Up Sports.
He did.
There's a lot of stuff happening. So keep an eye out for that. Kevin, what else you got going on this week?
Well, I went ahead and I wrote an article pretty much summing up the first game of the Cubs and Dodgers series. And so I talked about some conclusions. I made some in that article, so you want to get over there and check that out. And as you mentioned, get ready for the Belly Up Baseball Super Show. We're super jazzed for that. So, and there's going to be an article of mine on baseball. It's got to be. It's going to have to happen first week of baseball. So get over there to the probably Wednesday, I would suspect. Right in there. Might talk about some opening day starters. So take a look at that and keep that the Belly Up Sports. Keep that. So you just hit a button and there you go, because you're going to want to check that out, because lots of good stuff happening over there.
For sure. You can always follow Kevin, of course, on X, Twitter, at Kevin62WILSEA. This week, and Dad listens to this show. We haven't talked yet about this week's Sports Stove football show. We may not have an episode this week with opening day being Thursday, and that's when we typically do our show. I'm not sure that I want to be doing a football show on opening day. So, Dad, we'll talk about it. Don't worry, I'll call you. But the Sports Stove football show is typically a weekly show. Right now, heavy focus on the draft. Dropped the Sports Stove NFL Mock Draft 2.0 last week. You can get that on the Belly Up Sports website, bellyupsports.com. And lots of stuff. We've talked a lot about the Shedeur Sanders stuff. So if you're intrigued in that kind of thing, some things there. And JJ McCarthy, listen, I have some inside sources, legit sources with JJ McCarthy. And I'm telling you, if you're a Minnesota fan, you are in for a long season if JJ McCarthy's your quarterback. But you can listen to the episode last week. It's up on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast, the Sports Stove football show. You can listen to that whole conversation. This show.
Make sure you get some Seahawks discussion going on. in there because there have been some Seahawk moves
Yeah,
that bear discussion.
very true. Very true. This show you can find anywhere you get your podcasts. If you like to listen in the car, audio version only, the Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball Show is what you search. That logo that's at the bottom of the screen is the one you're looking for. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And then the episodes, we stream live on Facebook and Twitter, but we'll put the episode up on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel tonight. Actually, it'll go up. So make sure you're ready for that. All right. You can follow me at Sports Stove on Twitter. And again, Kevin at Kevin62 WILSEA. We sure appreciate you tuning in. We are ready for real baseball. Next week, we'll be back with fantasy baseball advice. It'll be coming out our ears next week. So
yeah,
be ready for that as well. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Have fun watching baseball this week.
If you have a chance, get out to the ballpark.
There you go.